and keep me honest here, right? Like, how many teams are really playing D night in and night out?
I believe that some people have purpose, and some people's purpose is to prevent people from achieving their purpose.
Whoa. That's not
What
it.
you said ain't sexy enough.
It's
Not sexy enough for everybody out here. It's not sexy. It's not what looks good. It's not what this person might tell me what looks good. But man, what you don't see is what you see, man. That's straight up.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of The Inner Court. It's Victor Oladipo, guest host Nieman Johnson. And today we have a very, very special guest. Hey, bro, I'm going to read your intro because we put a lot of time and effort into this. So listen up here. Today we're honored to have with us Brandon Marshall, 6-time Pro Bowl wide receiver, mental health advocate, and the visionary founder of the I Am Athlete podcast. Beyond his impressive NFL career, Brandon has been a leading voice in promoting mental health awareness and has successfully transitioned into the media landscape, creating platforms for authentic conversations in sports and beyond.
That's dope. My brother, man. Thank you for coming, bro.
I love this.
Man,
Thank you for
this.
coming.
Look at this.
Hey, you know that's good coming from you being in the
for
game
real,
for a while.
exactly.
You know what I mean? And this being our first thing, and you saying that, like, and I know you're not lying. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, cool.
Well, I think when you look at a set, you know, podcasting and this whole business is media business, you know, what's your differentiator? And so you can get creative and do whatever you want to do.
Right.
But then I look at how efficient it is, the mics, the audio, two-man crew, you know what I'm saying? Like the business around it. When we started, we had 6, 7, maybe 8 people on set with wires everywhere. We weren't as efficient, and that's the name of the game. How can I get as efficient as possible? So that's what I'm looking at when I see it.
Yeah. That comes from
That's
just
big time.
like being independent in music and me having to pay studio time, and trying to get the cost down. So now, you know, I mean, but you know, now like that you, when you did your podcast and you like trial and error, you like, oh snap, we paying 2,000 episode, but it's just starting.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So.
And it's a
This is
heavy
like-
reward in sports too when you're efficient. You know what I'm saying? Like you could get as much volume as you want, but the efficient ones, you know, they the ones. We know that for sure.
100%.
You know that.
So what's up, man?
Yeah, man, I'm happy to be here, man. I seen you guys drop. This is pretty dope. I'm gonna see how long it's gonna last. 'Cause I see my bro windmilling on the court. I'm like, all right,
Right.
Yo, the podcast dope, but how long is it gonna last?
Right.
Like,
Nah,
yeah.
I mean, we like when he get picked up on the team, we still gonna rock. We still gonna rock. We'll probably just do it traveling, like how what's the coach of the Lakers?
JJ
Redick and Tommy Arthur, they was doing, you know, just traveling around. You know what I mean, getting it done. And then you know, Josh Hart and Jalen, they doing
Brunson.
theirs like they doing theirs during the season too.
Yeah. Also, I want to take a big toll on being, you know, engaged with fans more. And I think, you know, having this platform and doing stuff like this, it's just, you know, it helps me get closer to the fan. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I ain't done that really well in my career. And you know, I want to know and let them know that I appreciate them. And what better way to do that than, you know, give them this authenticity. So.
Yeah.
You know, that makes me think like Vic is real concerned with the ratings of the NBA. You know, you hear about them dropping, and we talk about it often. Like, what do you think are some things that can help the NBA audience grow or just retain what they have?
I don't think you guys are gonna like it or will accept the only solution. There's only one solution, and it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy, and I'm excited actually to get your thoughts.
Okay.
As a NBA player, guy who's in it, close to it. less games. 82 is way too much.
No, I'm with you.
No,
And the problem. So what happens is this, right?
I'm with you on this.
What happens with this, right? Like this model, if you cut the games, then that cuts the revenue. So that's that's less money to the owners, less money to the players. That's why it probably won't happen, right? You got to think about, all the stars and all the owners coming together and saying, all right, well, let's go. We're going to go from, you making $70 million a year to now 45, 50. How do you go back? It's actually a great deal for the players right now. If you think about it, the NBA players are working less and making more. Now, there's a few out there that's still, night in and night out balling. But the reality is a lot of the superstars, they pick and choose when they want to play. And it's smart because we are smarter as players. We're more sophisticated. People are like, well, they used to do it back in the 80s, they used to do it back in the 90s. Look how them dudes is moving around. And then also we're looking at being efficient. We're looking at how do I win a championship? And sometimes you can look at them like, I ain't gonna play tonight because what matters to me is end of March or April. You know what I'm saying? To get on that run. NFL is a great product because there's only 17 games now. And I was just with an executive at the NFL, the league office the other night, and they were like, what do you think about this 18 game and this? And I said, we got the product right. Yeah. You want to be on the NBA side, like don't mess it up because it's just enough where every game matters. The fans love it. And then when the Super Bowl ends, people can't wait for the next season.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's how you fix the NBA because, like, I love basketball more than I love football. Wow. Like, even hooping, like, man, it ain't nothing like that. Like, going out there and hooping.
Like
you know what I'm saying? You can do that. You got dudes doing it till they 70. Right? So it's a great game, but it's just way too much. Way too much.
So, my bad. Go ahead. So how do you think we leverage, or is there no way to leverage still being able to make the same amount but decreasing the games? Is there any way to leverage like to where the player still makes about the same amount, the business still makes about the same amount, but the fan is able to engage with the performer and the performances, but it's on a less
that's a great question because and it's connected to what we're doing now. And we're talking about media, NBA, NFL. We're in the media business. That's when we say, we're entertainers. No, it's not. Yes, there's the performance part to it, but we're in the entertainment business, meaning TV, those deals, that's what pays the players. And so you have to create more products. How do we get more people to tune into NBA All-Star? How do we create, which we did, the play-in game and a tournament and the other tournament, and then you sell that, you package that.
Yeah, the cup.
So the cup. So that's how, that's where there could potentially be solutions, is creating more of those and selling those games, but they have to make sense. Fans have to tune in because all it is called spots and dots, meaning all right, we get 5 million people tuned in to watch these games every single night, or these events or these tournaments. Then you package that and sell it, and they say, okay, here's the CPM. Cost per million, et cetera. So it's just a formula. That's all it is. So
it's because when we break it down, and that is like the main solution when we research it is like lessening the games in the league, in the NBA. It's lessening the games, and when you compare it, there's a lot of comparison and fun comparisons between NBA, NFL.
Right.
But as far as the business model, I think the NFL has got a great business model that's like you said, like every game matters. There's a build up for a week, until the game, so you can create this banter, this marketing on the game.
Yeah, I don't start watching the NBA until April.
Wow, golly,
bro, y'all don't be playing D, bro. Y'all
super close. I was gonna say
NFL season. He said April,
but that's valid though
because there's only a couple teams there's probably and keep me honest here, right? Four. How many teams are really playing D night in and night out?
4.
And again, it's not. I'm not blaming the players.
3 or 4.
I actually think the players are winning right now. The players are smart. It's the games, You know how it is traveling from the East Coast to the West Coast? We bring in sleep scientists and we bring in experts when we go from New York to go play the Seattle Seahawks. All right, guys, we're traveling to the West Coast now. We got to go out 2 days in advance. You got to hydrate this way. You got to eat this way.
We don't got
and
that.
y'all live on the plane? You kidding me? Like, think about the wear and tear on the NBA players. So I'm not knocking the NBA players, but to me, the game gets good when everything's on the line. Like, it's still obviously, we ain't even talking about that. Basketball is everything. It's everything. You know what I'm saying? But when it's on the line and dudes playing D and really getting after it, come on, man.
There's nothing like it.
See, because from a consumer's point and a fan point, they know the player's not playing hard every game.
They could tell.
They know it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's like, so when you ask that, how many teams are actually playing, you could tell certain teams that are like really getting after it. Yep. And you could tell some of those teams like Boston, y'all gotta do what y'all do, but they come off the gas a little bit. Just say pick and choose when they, you know what I mean? And they cool with it because they know, hey, it's enough games in this joint to where I'm going to still seed high. And when it comes to that, it's a strategy to it.
April and May.
It's strategy.
I'm gonna turn this joint upside down. We ain't got sleep doctors.
That's right.
Though.
Y'all got sleep.
No, we don't.
Hey, you know what's crazy?
We don't got no sleep doctors. That threw me off a little bit. We don't got no one making sure we hydrated this much, that much. Sleep doctors. Oh, man, we ain't doing it.
What's crazy when you said that, right? When I watch Hard Knocks, right? And I'm looking at these facilities that the NFL is like having with the players, and they having all these rooms for recovery and
training.
They having 16 massage therapists pull up. Keep it real with you. I done
That ain't the NBA. See, I realized this too. It wasn't until look at even D Rose, right? His story. And shout out to D Rose, amazing career, just retired not too long ago. But it wasn't until he got hurt where he started really leaning into that training.
Yeah.
Because then the best athletes when it comes to the training regimen is Olympic athletes.
Yes.
But they're training and only have a few events a year.
Right.
Right? Now, then you have football, right? And then NBA, now guys are starting to get there, and they've been there for some years now. But I remember when I first got in the league, and it was way back in the time, way back in the day, 2006, dudes really wasn't working out in the NBA, right? And I think there was guys in this last generation that came along, like the Bronze of the world, that show, this is how you take it to a whole nother level. This is how you take care of your body. This is how you eat. This is how you sleep. Because there is a huge difference. Huge difference. Even how you break down film, watch film. We be there from, I'll be at the facility from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. in season.
Dang.
Every day.
Yeah, that's
not a thing.
The league.
That's not. That's not.
He said, no.
That's
not a thing.
He said that's not a thing.
That's not a
And
thing.
even this different. Sorry to hijack
No,
the show.
no,
real quick.
no.
But even this thing
We
too,
love it. We love it.
when we travel, I say this all the time. We go into a city, boom, we got a game. All right, let's say we land at 4:30. Time we usually land 4:30 p.m. Then you have a couple hours to go see your family, go eat, whatever. And usually guys group up and be like, yo, we're going to go eat over here. Or they might click up, and bring their families together. But then you have special teams meeting that start at 8 p.m. And then you have offense and defense separates at 8:30, 8:45. And then the team comes together at 9-something. And then you have treatment and other things there. But you have curfew at 11 p.m. And we may have the top 3 or 4 floors, and on every single floor there's a security guard on both ends. Nobody's allowed up there. Your wife can't come up there. Your kids can't come up there. Nobody's allowed on those floors. And you can't even get off that floor. Once curfew comes and the coaches come, literally,
And knock on the door.
every room.
What?
This is the NFL. Y'all, the NBA,
There's
y'all.
nothing like that.
Y'all might be in the club the night before,
Listen.
or some of these kids.
Hey, yo. I never forget one time.
no comment.
No comment.
No comment, bro.
I remember it was a time Melvin Ingram is a good friend of ours, right?
Yeah.
And he came to a game. It was at the crypto, and we walked to the hotel. He was like, bro, they'll never let us do this.
Oh wow.
They would never let us walk to the hotel from the arena. They don't care how far it is.
You got to jump on a bus.
Yeah, he's like, he was like, we all just finna go walk. And we was like,
Why is there a difference? What is it that you think that makes it the NFL want to do it that way? Why? What makes it?
That's a good question.
What makes them want to be that? I don't know if the word is stern or direct or whatever word may come to mind, but what makes them be that efficient with that versus maybe why do you think the NBA isn't as?
I never got asked that question. Never thought about it. But the first thing that comes up for me is, the NFL feels a lot like the military. Like, even think about how we train. It's different. Mm-hmm. Oh, get up, let's go, run, tires. Go back to like the beginning of time.
right.
You know what I'm saying? When you see football players training with the helmets and all the movies, look what we're going through. Two-a-days.
Hell,
You know what I mean? So it's very structured. It's very militant, and so I think that's why, because of the structure there. Maybe back in the time, like these coaches, the guys who started football, was probably military dudes. Because you got to think about it, man. Like, I was just out at the field with my kids. My son and my daughter, they're twins, 10 years old. They both play flag football. I don't know why she want to play flag football.
They twins? I got twins.
What you mean? Because you what?
I know, I'm like, that's a whole nother conversation. But I'm talking to my daughter. I'm like, I'm just sitting there chilling. I'm actually doing stretches in the back end zone. Like, I'm not even, you know what I mean? I only talk when the effort's not there or the body language is off, like the little things. I want them to have fun. But her effort's off. And I'm like, yo, Ziggy, yo. We can go home if you're going to act like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If we're going to be out here, we got to hustle. Because that's the game. When you get in between the lines, like there's unspoken, unwritten rules where it's like in between. Once you cross the line, literally the white line, you run everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. And so now the game is shifting. The generation is a little different. But that if you see an old cat and see a young cat walking, you can see an old cat's face like, no, there ain't no walking. Even to drill, you might have a 3-minute break. No, run your ass to the sideline or run to the next drill. There's no walking when you're in there. So, I think about that, bro. The structure is just unbelievable. And accountability is unbelievable. And it's every single day because every game matter. You can get to the end of the season come February or let's say January, now it's playoff time. And you got to go back all the way to week 2, week 3. And be like, damn, we lost that game. Now we don't have the tiebreaker, so now we out the playoffs. Every day matters.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if it's like this in the NBA, but you come in the locker room, boom, got our nameplates up or whatever. And you might come in one day and be like, damn, John gone. And then 2 hours later, another dude's in there. Every Tuesday, they have tryouts. Every Tuesday, we got new teammates.
I mean, it's kind of like that, but not really. Like, cause it's more so like, I feel like when you in the league in the NBA, your spot is kind of solidified unless you get hurt. There's not like somebody vying for spots. I don't think that's a thing.
I mean, there's
the
two
G
ways,
League.
and there's they might like the last roster spot like 14, 15. It might be a few guys in and out of those spots because they might bring a guy up from the G League. They might got a 2-way or something like that. But for the most part throughout that year, it'll be the same 1 or 2 or 3 guys coming in and out of that 14th or 15th spot. So that's different, from there. What's interesting, it was like, and I think it's a cool way to segue, but when you was saying like, I remember how that was growing up playing, and it was like, you got to run to just do the drill over here. You got to run to that spot to do the drill. You got to run to this spot to do the drill. And, I think a lot of things changed. This is my personal opinion when the whole hazing stuff came out. I think that was probably around 2013-ish.
Yeah.
Do you think that has or played a role in things being kind of a little light for guys? Maybe not even just the NBA or whatever you want to call it, but just, the younger generation, people in general. And do you think mental health plays a part in that as well?
100%. And sports is a microcosm of society, right? So society is changing. society, some would say, is softer, but we're more aware now. You know what I'm saying? Even you look at some of us that are struggling post-career, like football players, that attitude, that oomph that you need don't necessarily translate into society or relationships, marriage, business, et cetera, et cetera. So you go through this process of healing and dealing with some of those things, and some guys never recover from it. So absolutely, like those times, like 2013, we start talking about hazing, start talking about bullying, and now you have, rules in place where you can't do it. You have to soften up, right? And even look at comedy right now. Like, comedy's kind of getting back a little bit, but for years, like, oh, we can't say this, we can't say that. Comedy was always a place where it was no rules.
Right.
So I absolutely think that era, 2013, the bullying and all of that, the hazing, definitely shifted things. But I'm actually happy that things shift. Well, not happy. I'm actually I'm happy for my kids when you talk about like that type of energy and that effort, because that's how you stand out, right? So I'm like, I stay on my kids from that standpoint, not from hazing or anything like that. But it's like, no, when you're on that field, go be exceptional. Yeah. Go separate yourself.
When you talk about your kids and the upbringing that you're doing and the process of growth and, all of the areas, spiritual, mentally, physically, how much of a responsibility do you think it is as a parent, because I listen to Amon Ra St. Brown, like his dad has a podcast, and he would say like, it's on you. As a parent. Your kid's success is on you. Yeah, because they're kids. So you tell them do you believe that?
100%, man. I showed you this video of my son today. I recorded this, and it's like, we keep this stuff. I'm like, one day you'd be in a documentary or something. But here you go. All right, now it'll explain it. Let me see. Okay, the audio ain't working here. But basically, this is I don't know what's up with this. So my son today was like, Dad, I'm going to listen to you. He's 10. He's like, Dad, I'm going to listen to you. And I'm like, what you talking about? He's like, I'm going to play quarterback now. And I said, how long has it taken you to agree with me? He said 5 years.
Dang.
For 5 years, I'm like, son, quarterback. Yeah. And today they won 42-20. Because I asked him, I said, why, what inspired this now? Yeah. He said, because I led my team 42-20. I liked how that felt. Right? But so I agree with Pops on that, where it's like, no, like it's like, how quickly can you see it? Even my younger son, not just sports, my 5-year-old boy, he loves being in the kitchen with his mom and cooking. Okay, let's go. Maybe you be a Michelin star chef. Yeah. Let's get in there right now with the chef. Let's learn right now. Yeah. My daughter sings. She's an artist. I got to identify that right now. I have an engineer come to the crib. Every time she's with me, we're making a song. I got I have a whole file of all her songs. And it's just playing around. It's get in there, just listen to a beat, do whatever you do.
Yeah. Do you think it could be overbearing as a parent? Like, is there a threshold that you can't go over as a parent when it comes to that, so that your child doesn't maybe feel like they're being forced? And what is it that you do to help yourself? Like, no, like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna let you have it today, but then 5 years later, I know for a fact you're gonna come back and tell me that I was right about this. Because there's some parents that are like, no, you got to get it right now. Like, no, we're not leaving until you get it right now. And sometimes that could be like, it can make your child less likely, to want to do it. So what is it that you do to kind of keep you, I don't know, at a happy medium with them, but still understand, like, I know what's best for you. I'm just not going to force it on you.
Yeah. First, it starts with fun. Like, after everything, the first question I always ask my kids, did you have fun? After practice, any game. I don't care about the scoreboard. I care about your effort. I care about your attitude. I care about your body language. And right now, up until I say high school is fun. It really doesn't get serious to your freshman year or so. Yeah. There's a book that I read that helped me out, and then I passed it around to other dudes in the locker room, and now I recommend this to all parents. It's Body, Mind, Mastery and the Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman, right? And it speaks about this in the book. So I think it's all about fun. It's all about developing. It's all about, them learning and trying things. But then I also, when I was like, up until their freshman year, when it comes to sports, you don't really take it serious. But there comes a time where you can see it, right? And it's the psychology and the spiritual connection that you have with your kid. Where you're like, oh no, they're ready. Like my son, I said I cannot. The key to my son's success is his mother. My daughter is me. Just the connection that we have.
That's a powerful understanding, man.
I can't coach my son at this phase the way I can coach my daughter. My daughter can receive, and then it can shift.
Yeah,
too.
It will.
Right, sure but like now, my son finally came. And he's like, "Daddy, I'm ready. I'm ready for you to coach me."
Yeah,
because Daddy coaching you is
serious.
Is like what you talking about, where I can break you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And every dad and every parent or mom is different. My energy is like I only know one way. Right. My daughter received that 3. Like no. All right, 1, 2, 3. Her face. My son, you can feel it. All right, nope. Yeah, and Daddy, I want you to come out here to do. No. You're not ready. Get out of here. Now he's pulling me, forcing me.
Yeah.
Daddy, I want to get up at 5 a.m. to come work out with you. Daddy, I want to go. It's 12 midnight. Let's go run. Oh, okay, you ready for it?
But see, what you're saying is interesting because when did they come and say, "Hey, I want to play football"? Because they both play football.
Yeah.
So when did they come and say, "Hey, I want to play football"?
Yeah. So my daughter. First off, I don't want him to play football.
Okay.
I didn't never want him to play football.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
that's
you
a
see
house.
the 3.
That's a house.
Play something.
Yeah.
Straight up. Like,
yeah.
And that's why I wanted him to play quarterback. The conversation of quarterback. It was more so okay if you're going to do it, get in a position where you're going to make the most money and you're probably more protected. You only get one brain, right? And so that's real. And it's hard for me because I love the game. It changed my life.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's hard for me to say that, but that's my truth. Like I prefer they don't play ball.
Yeah.
So when I was balling, like there was no memorabilia in my house, and still to this day, no memorabilia. Well, there's some things that can pop up now. No footballs in my house. And so at the age of 4, one time I came in, there was like a little jet football just there. I'm like, Mish, how did a ball get in here? Threw that out. Then a couple weeks later, another ball came in. And he was taking balls from when they was coming to the games in the suites.
Yeah.
So my son came to me when he was like 5, 6, like, no, I want to play. And he looked at me and he was like, no, I'm playing. I'm like, dang. And I just had to let it roll. And then my daughter just did that a couple months ago. Even today when we was out there, she running around said, that's why I don't want you to play football anyway. You out here, you ain't giving the effort. You know I don't want you to play. I'm screaming his parents like,
they like, what?
Hey, but she just came. Now she out there. She scored 2 touchdowns in the last 2 games, though.
That's awesome.
Because there's a group that would agree, of course, there's a group that would agree, like, yeah, it's on you. You got to push your kids, da-da-da-da. And then there's another group that's like, your kids is going to be what they want. Yeah. In a sense of like, you didn't even want them to play football. And then they
I totally disagree with that. I agree with Amon St. Brown's pops, like, because there's gifts. It's if you're spiritually connected with your kid, if you're in tune, if you're present, you're there, you have to identify that, then put them in that environment. It doesn't mean that you say this, we're going to be hard on them and you be overbearing, do the most. But it's like, like my daughter, we knew when she was in her mom's stomach that she loved music. Every time we played music, she kept moving.
Yeah. And
then that became true when she came out and she was 6 weeks old. We're playing music. They're twins. And she just like, and then she's like when she was a couple of months.
But you would say that a parent that isn't spiritually connected, you would say they wouldn't because their kid haven't chose a craft to identify with early? Because sometimes kids they don't attack.
I think you're a bad parent.
Really?
I think you're a bad parent. That's our job. Our job is to put our kids in position. Like, because you like what he said is like their kids, they don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we have so much experience. You know this. You know music.
Nah, yeah.
Y'all both know music. You know music. So if your kids come in, they say, I hear that. No,
you
like
know.
what?
Yeah,
okay, let's explore that a little bit.
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
you know. I just know that there are parents who are like, because like I know households where it's like, okay, we could go extreme. Billionaire household.
Yeah.
5 kids. It's always one kid be with pops. Hey, pops love him. He gonna run the business and there's one, he a crackhead, you know, but they had the same upbringing.
Mm-hmm. And that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. Like you just gotta show up. You gotta do your job as a parent. Man, my kids, I argue with my kids now, and they think I'm playing. Like I took them to USC, I took them to UCLA, I took them on a college tour, and I did research on the top universities, but not just from a sports standpoint, but also they had everything that they needed from education, arts, and I also want my kids to stay together. I want them in a certain city, right, where they can experience life. And then also I looked at the biggest endowments. I looked at the biggest networks, because now when your career is over, I'm like, damn, I wish I went to Stanford. Why was I chasing football? They was going to find me anyway. Right. So I'm looking at this, but think about my experiences. So I'm telling my son, I'm like, yo, we going to USC. That's where I want y'all to be right now. That's what I'm identifying, because I look at, they have everything that y'all need.
Yeah.
I said, we're going to USC. And my son says, no, I ain't going there. First it was LSU. Now Deion, Shador, and Travis Hunter hot. Now he like, I'm going to Colorado. I'm like, excuse my language. Like, nigga, he ain't going to be there.
He not gonna be there with
I'm
you.
like, Deion ain't going to be there. I'm saying, son, but I say that because to me, I feel like even that decision, it ultimately needs to be his. But if I can get my son to do what he did today, is like, Daddy, I'm gonna listen to you now. And that I have to be like, yo, son, you gotta trust me here. This is the better situation for you, not only right now, short term, but also long term. To me, that's on me as a father.
Parenting, yeah.
See, so I think it's both. I think
There
it's
you go.
both. Because when you manage people, it's ultimately their career. You can only guide and give the best advice possible, but at the end of
They
it, like
make
you
the
just said,
decisions, yeah.
it's their decision, right?
That's right.
I'm not going against you. I'm just saying, but you have to try. Like you have to. No, but I'm saying
I'm listening to you.
No,
I'm with you.
No, I'm just repeating what you said when you said, man, I have to give him the game though. You have to try. And I think like when you're a manager, sometimes you question how hard you push.
See, but I don't even look at it that way.
But I
look at it this way. I look at it, I'm the CEO, especially of their businesses, their brands. If they're choosing, because I'm not like, listen, I think my son's gonna be the first active professional athlete to run a Fortune 500 company. I think my daughter is going to be the face of volleyball, and I also think that she's going to sell out arena singing. There's something healing in her voice. Like there's my daughter, like she has it.
Yeah.
My son, he's the freak. The 5-year-old, like as an athlete, he's a freak. But then I think there's something in food potentially, but I don't know. I'm still waiting.
Yeah.
And so right now, right, and that's why I said my ex Mishi is the key to Ziggy or to Z, my son, the 10-year-old boy, and I'm the key to my daughter, the 10-year-old girl, because I look at who's managing, but I look at it from a CEO standpoint. I'm the CEO of what we're building
The
here.
household, yeah.
Right? No, not even the household, but like, 'cause I'm talking about like navigating through their career and where they're going. But then there comes a time where my daughter has to become the CEO, right? So I look at, all right, well, I'm the CEO, who's the COO, CFO, like running this like a real business, right? And having those things in order. They have a seat at the table 100%, and they're in it because I'm teaching them and I'm grooming them to take over their own business. And maybe it's year 2. Let's say, and I say the league, and I hate that we're talking about this way because, especially us, we made it. We have an opportunity to like we had to play. This was our way out.
It
ain't our kids' way out. And so
exactly.
we get an opportunity to let them explore so many other things.
Yeah.
But what happens, they happen to be talented, right? So we're going to explore this too.
You doing it?
I'm talking about from a sports standpoint, athletic standpoint. But let's say one of them choose to do this and it hits for them. They're healthy, God willing, right? They make it. It could be year 4 where I expect my son to come into the family office and say, hey, Dad, it's time for me to lead the way. And then it's like, all right, you ready? Boom, go ahead. And then I'll fall back.
Yeah.
Well,
that's dope.
What if they don't want to? They don't want to do the family business. What if they want to do something else?
Then you out the family. You out the family. You out the family.
Wait.
What do you mean? Because
What do
you
you
talked
mean?
about
He said-
the Rockefeller family.
Yeah.
The Forbes family. We're talking about generational wealth. The same people that's managing my money needs to be managing your money. Why are you gonna go out there and figure it out? I made all the mistakes. I lost 15 million.
Yeah.
Right now, I put us in position.
Yeah.
Now you need what?
So let me ask you.
No,
what do you,
okay,
I got
out
a
the
question.
family is
I got a
extreme.
question. I got a question.
I understand what you said.
No, you out the fame, no extreme. You out the family.
But what you said though is important in the sense of like, look, hey kids, on the real, if your dad or mom is successful, and I know that you're in the house with them every day, so it becomes like, oh, that's just mom, and oh, that's just no. That's
normal.
not just mom, and that's
They're
not
not normal. Yeah, it's not normal.
It's not normal to be successful.
It's
like
not.
especially on this level. Brandon Marshall, 6-time Pro Bowl, Victor Oladipo, 2-time All-Star. It's like that's not normal
3-time.
at all. 2 times.
It's 3 times.
Oh, 3. Well, if we go future, then it's way more than 3. You know what I mean? Like, like if we go future, it's, yeah, you know what I mean?
God.
Yeah, we go Hall of Fame. Yeah, we go,
They're going all the way
Yeah,
up
we go
there.
all the way. Yeah, no,
He doing
for
stuff
sure.
he ain't do since high school.
But we gotta stress the importance, because like even for your kids, like it's like at the house, it's always like, oh, that's just pops. Oh, that's just pops.
Yeah.
Even you could kind of tell, even in Brian household, it's like, you know, the way they impersonate them, and it's like, oh, that's just pops. But I think there has to be like an emphasis on, nah, but pops is the 0.1% of the population.
Bron,
he knows something.
But it also
He knows something.
I agree, but it also doesn't have to be, you know, someone that's like, when we look at success, like making it to NBA, NFL, et cetera, it's like someone who went through life, won, lost, overcame, that's educated, informed,
Yes.
put in the work,
Yes.
that know, you know, like
all of that.
Yes.
All of that. All
Yeah.
of that. Because if you have been successful in one thing, highly successful in one thing, you could take the same principles, consistency, discipline, and put it into another thing. And I think you see that with.
I see that.
But that's what I'm saying though, because what if? Because this my thing. Like when we was all 20 years old, we didn't necessarily have the same goals, aspirations, and we didn't have the same mindset as we do 10, 20 years later. So as your kid, when he's growing up or she's growing up, who is to say that they'll have that same mindset of, now I'm going to invest solely into the business, solely into the entity, rather than I just want to be a 20, 19, 18-year-old kid and do what I love. And I feel like that's where it gets kind of tricky, because like, what if they don't want to, that's not their thing right now? What if they want to be able to, because I think about it as a young kid, right? It's like you would get advice and it's just like, that don't necessarily mean that's what's going to happen to me. That's not necessarily mean what's going to be for me. I kind of want to see what it's going to look like for me, because Victor Oladipo and Naomi Oladipo ain't going to have the same life. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to look at her the same way. Or Brandon Marshall's son and daughter, you know, they're not going to look at me and they might not give me the same, you know, whatever it is that they gave Brandon Marshall. So maybe I need to do this for myself. So what is it that how is it that we as parents can, you know, contain or maintain that balance of, okay, you know, this is what's best for you. We want you to be you, though.
So let me ask you this question. Do you believe in purpose?
Of course.
So you believe that everyone have a purpose?
I mean, yes, I think, I believe that some people have purpose, and some people's purpose is to prevent people from achieving their purpose.
Whoa. That's the first time I heard that. Yeah.
Whoa,
you think?
How did you get
Wait,
there?
wait.
How did you get there?
Yeah,
Like,
what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah,
Well, I
this
think that-
is totally shifted.
Well, if you think about it, like you were saying, like you can't determine what kind of eggs you have in the batch, right?
Okay.
So there's some eggs that'll be good. There's some eggs that might not be so good. And from my observation and just, my healing journey, I've come to the understanding that there's some people's purpose is to help people achieve their purpose. And then there's some people's purpose that are literally help to stop people from obtaining their purpose.
good, V.
Because it's balance in life, right? So there's people that'll help you with your purpose. There's people who stop you from achieving
You know what? That's
good,
like
B.
real.
That's good.
That's like real reality outside of like optimistic. Oh, everything is gonna be okay.
That's
because
right. That's
you know what
real.
I'm saying? Because it's real. It's like there's good and then there's bad. And I like when you dig into spirituality and like dig into life and purpose and why we're here, you understand like, okay, there needs to be some bad for us to understand what good really is and what it feels like to be happy and to be successful, because without losing, winning is what?
Right, 100%.
It just gets tricky because like those people that are made to stop you from achieving your purpose is sheep in wolves' clothing. So a lot of them don't even know that that's what they are, who they are.
Keep going. Go. Where's the camera? Go, bro.
A lot of them don't know that's who they are or what they are.
That boy preaching.
So it's
huh?
like they think that they're the ones who are supposed to achieve purpose.
So let
but
me
they
ask
are
you
hindering people from achieving their purpose. Trust.
So let me ask both of you guys.
Oh, hold on. Let me
Yep.
add to that too,
Yep.
because that's what I just got goosebumps thinking about it,
Yeah.
because this is going to bless a lot of people. What he said was, they come to you.
Wolves in
Yes.
sheep's clothing, like sheep in wolves' clothing, like they are supposed to be with you. Everybody look the same. Everybody it's right now. So many masks. Like you can make yourself look the part.
And so that's powerful. And we all, people believe in different things. I go to the Bible really quickly, but what it also says in there, it says like, but you would know them by their fruits. They come to you as latherous wolves. They come to you in sheep's clothing. Excuse me. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they're latherous wolves. But you would know them by their fruits. So for us out there that need to identify when we're in a room and who's around us, look at their spirit.
Yeah.
Do they have peace? Do they have joy?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Are they humble?
Yes.
Is there love? Right? Is there perseverance? Like there's certain things in there, forbearance, excuse me. There's certain things there that we can pull from. That was a whole
It's tough, bro.
sermon there, bro.
Yes.
Tough. It's tough.
Because what I love about
ahead,
what
go ahead.
you said was you didn't mention money not one time,
you
or
didn't.
cars or houses. It was all inner. You know what I mean? It was all inner work that a lot of people, they identify success and who they should get advice from material things.
It's not
but
sexy enough.
That's not
What
it.
you said ain't sexy enough.
It's
not
inner.
sexy enough for everybody out here. It's not sexy. It's not what looks good. It's not what this person might tell me what looks good. But man, what you don't see is what you see, man. That's straight up. What you don't see is what you see. I don't care how many chains you got on, how many girls you got, how many nice things you got. Man, the inner them are gonna come out eventually.
Yeah,
it's
and
gonna
just
come
wait
out.
for it. You'll see it.
So we've entered into this part of the podcast, the inner court, where we call this segment "Get It Off Your Chest." My dog.
Get it off your chest. Yeah,
Bro.
Yeah, no, that's big time. Let me even. Go ahead. Yeah.
Dang, y'all, why? This is what podcasting for. Go ahead, bro. Go
No,
ahead.
what you was gonna say?
No, because I asked the question about purpose, because I don't know if you were going to get off purpose, but I asked him that question before he shifted the whole room, because when we talk about the kids and all of that, that's what I'm trying to identify.
Yeah,
And what we do is not who we are. And so if my 5-year-old can fulfill his work through food, right, making the world better, then that's what we're going to do. So like, can I identify that?
Yeah.
Because it's about purpose, living in your purpose. And so even like the whole family office thing, it's set up as an infrastructure for the family, the individual family, to bring their business to life, to bring their purpose to life. And it can be nonprofit, because what you're saying is critical too, because I'm the type of dude that can be missed. You can miss this because I'm like very boom, and it can come off like we were talking about militant, right? But I want my kids to flow. I'm like, my life is the sacrifice. So yours isn't.
Yeah.
Meaning that it should be less toil for you. Just follow the blueprint.
Yeah.
But the stuff that we got to go through for our children, they shouldn't have to go through that. But there still needs to be infrastructure in place for them to be the best human beings. And then also be responsible with the wealth that was created before you. And you need to make it better. Like my son needs to come into the family office and incorporate AI.
Yeah.
He needs to come into the family office because they're smarter.
Yeah, he needs to multiply.
You feel me? So sorry, I just wanted to hit that.
No, that's important.
I was
That's
going to just
important. That's
piggyback
important.
because the same thing, like with purpose, there's this quote in this like interview where Jay-Z says like he feels like everyone has something special in them.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you too, adding on to the purpose, do you feel the same way? That
Absolutely.
I think it depends on what you believe special is, because I think so much that like we look at the main character, like we look at like the astronaut, or we look at Elon, or we look at you as the receiver, or you as the shooting guard, but like there's other ways to be special.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that a lot of times when you hear someone like Jay-Z say, yeah, you have something special in you, people are directly attributing that to like the superstar, the one.
Yeah, that's
when it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like if you was to talk to anybody, you guys would probably be like, well, I think this guy, you know what I mean? And he's special because he did this, and this. And I think that oftentimes that's it's like passed up on, like, you know, we need engineers to make the freeways, and we need, and you're special. You know what I mean? So I agree too. I just think that the definition of it is skewed a little.
The picture, the illustration, when we see special, we see all the geniuses or the superstars. I agree with you 100%. I have this vision when, Forbes or Fast Company or, one of those business imprint, one of those magazines reach out and say, hey, yo, B, we want to tell your story. I don't want to be on the cover. I want my entire team on the cover.
There you go.
Because it's like, I am hiring
that's huge.
Someone who, like, you got to master YouTube. That's special.
That's special.
They may see me,
Yeah,
right? That's why I always revert. Yeah.
I need you.
I need that.
I don't know how to do that.
I'm in my meeting saying that, man. This is dope conversation right now. I was literally in a meeting yesterday saying this to my team. I was like, no, I need you.
Yeah.
I need you to own this and make it better.
Yes.
Because I got to be over here doing something
this,
totally different. I got to
yes.
be learning this.
Yes.
I'm 5 years ahead right now. And so I appreciate that you brought that up because, it's like everything together. So yeah, you might be the person in the front, but man, that strategist that you got right there is everything.
Everything.
But I hear Chuck and Shaq, like I hear them say it a lot. They're like, man, yeah, we won all the Emmys, but hey, the producers, like our team, I believe them. They team must be on point because they say it a lot, but it's behind every, face. There's a team that's like incredible behind there, and they're special to that face, that 100%. Person.
Like, look at this conversation and what you just said, V. Team, yo, how do you cut that and get that on all channels in its native state, right? Because no one's going to hear this if we don't cut it right.
Yeah.
It needs to be on LinkedIn. It needs to be on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Short, different forms, short form, long form. We need to get it on Pinterest, graphic. We need to get it on X, right? And so, when you talk about Chuck or Shaq saying that, because you got this team around you.
Yeah.
And so like in this space, you know, that's what we're trying to master as well. Is like, how do we create a machine? How do we create a monster where we have these the dopest conversations? Because like y'all are dudes, y'all real. Like y'all not here just, y'all really want to educate, inform,
1,000%.
and connect.
I mean,
1,000%. We not on here trying to argue.
I'm trying to figure out what else is there to live for.
Yeah, yeah, like
100% meaningful.
Nah, for sure.
Yeah.
So how do we get that out? And that's the beautiful thing. This one thing, bro, what y'all going to experience, and it's so dope. If you guys stick to this, and just stay consistent, and it may take 18 to 24 months before y'all have y'all breakthrough.
Yeah.
Right? Like financially and also from an audience standpoint, but you need to have the consistency there. And what you're going to experience more reach, more impact here than you playing basketball.
wow.
Because you got to think that one soundbite on YouTube. Let's say this podcast gets 50,000 views. Okay, you be like, we gonna be looking at like, damn man, I post on Instagram me windmilling, I got a couple million, right?
Yeah.
But you're gonna say 50,000 on YouTube. Some people may say it's a blessing. We're gonna be like, we can do better, right? But that same clip went viral on TikTok, and then it also went viral in other spaces, and then also some people seen it that is not even a subscriber,
Right.
bro. Like I'd be walking around. And the people like, yo, you that YouTuber? I'm a YouTuber now. Y'all didn't even put that in the bio.
My bad, dog.
Yeah, that should have been the first thing.
Nah, because Timberland, we asked him, he was like, yo, I'm a streamer.
That's what he said.
He said he's a
it.
streamer. Like when you
He
watch
did, he did, he
episode
did.
3, he doesn't go by produce. He said,
I'm a streamer.
He like, I'm a streamer now. So like it's fluid.
Bro, when this is when it hit me, it was like 2000. Was it right before the pandemic? No, it was during the pandemic because we started the podcast during that time. So it was like 2020, I believe, or whenever that was. And I went to a little small town outside of Atlanta, Georgia, and I went into a Zaxby's.
Okay.
And the young lady behind the desk was like, "You're that YouTuber." Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
You know what? Yes, I am.
Yeah.
That's wild to me, though.
So in that, so when you started I Am Athlete, you started it, why?
Well, first it came off a case study. We talk about purpose, right? So, you know, mental health, we haven't even dove into that really.
Yeah.
But I was at
we
McLean
was
Hospital
coming.
on the outpatient program. And that's when I realized that, you know, football was my platform. But my purpose was to help bridge the gap in the mental health community. And so I started this journey of trying to figure out, like, you know, what am I going to do post-career? What am I going to do with this thing? A couple of years later, like I spent my offseason at Harvard building on a case study on transition, and content and commerce came out of that. Like I was studying Keanu Reeves, Boomer Esiason, Doug Flutie, Magic Johnson, Livestrong, Lance Armstrong, people that did an amazing job in a nonprofit world, but impact.
Yeah.
And so, so it started there. All right. So pandemic hit, and I saw an opportunity to launch it.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't know it was going to take on the life that it took on.
Yeah.
But it went back to that. Like that's why I was like doing like the linear, the traditional stuff. But when the pandemic hit, I said, yo, like, let's just try this YouTube thing. I walked in, I said, next week, let's have a show up.
When you were playing, did you know it was podcast, or did you have no idea? Like you know how they tell you all the time, like you got to prepare for life after basketball, or you got to prepare for life after your sport. Like you should be doing it right now, right? Did you know during that time of your career, like, okay, I'm gonna do this afterwards, or was it?
Yeah.
Was it that moment where you realized, you know, you went to and you had the case study that it was like, okay, now this is what I should be doing.
Yeah, this is so good, man, because all this whole conversation is connecting. I think that the first thing I would say for people out there is like, you just want to be in progress in figuring out your purpose, and it can change. The way it looks and how you get there can change. And so the answer is, I didn't know how it was going to look, but I did the work, right? So after this case study, what I started doing after every season, I said, my plan was to go on tour. And what was tour for me was to go to Bristol, Connecticut, where ESPN headquarters was, to get on First Take, to get on SportsCenter, to get the reps, to meet the producers. So when it was time for me to transition, I already had a gig because I'm Brandon Marshall, the All-Pro player, the Pro Bowl player. Anybody takes was going to take my call then.
Yeah.
Not, I seen dudes
But you
still
understood?
in the league, but in year 10, 11, 12, they're like, yo, we on to the next.
Right.
Right? So in the prime of my career, I wanted to establish the relationship, so I transitioned smoothly. And so the first time out, I had all these agents hit me up, WME, CAA, and Josh Pye from WME. WME was the first one to hit me, and he was like, yo, we love you. And then fast forward 4 months later, I became the first active athlete to do full-time broadcasting, and I was on Inside the NFL on Showtime. And so that just, so it was linear first.
Yeah.
It was that. And then the pandemic hit, right?
Yeah.
So I was working that same problem for years. And so when the pandemic hit, I was on Fox, I was doing some other things, and I was on Showtime. I was on Showtime for 10 years. The reality of the podcast, so to answer your question, when I was on this journey, people brought me podcasts like, oh, podcasts, I didn't understand it. I didn't want to do podcasting. But then we were trying to sell a show, which was more linear.
Got it.
Like old school was me and my homie, just like this.
Yeah.
When I was playing, I was pitching HBO and Showtime. I wasn't thinking podcast. And so then boom, we get to the pandemic. And the reason why I started the podcast, I wanted to sell the show so I can keep my team together on the House of Athlete on the wellness side, the mental health side. So that's all I was trying to do.
Yeah.
And so I saw like Stephen A. Smith, everybody was at home on their Zooms, and he had the little AirPods on the strings. I was like, yo, that production stink.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, but I got legends that live in this area, and I just invested in my own equipment and everything. And I got this gym, this facility that is now a studio.
Yeah.
Like, can we do it in a safe way?
Yeah.
And that was the first question, was like, yo, we were in a pandemic.
Yeah.
I was like, how do we do it and we don't get sick?
Yeah.
Right.
And boom.
So when you just had the equipment? Like,
So I invested in everything to tell the story of House of Athletes. So I just went to, if y'all know the name, B&H Photo. So I just came back from New York. I spent like $50,000-$60,000 in B&H. I told my social producer, person I hired, I said, yo, go in there, go get anything you need.
That I need.
Like at a high level, just because I was telling like little stories, vignettes on Instagram and whatever, like wellness stories.
Yeah.
And so we had the equipment, and I had a few shooters, a few people. And so I walked in and I was just like, next week, let's start a podcast. And they had to figure it out.
That's good that you say that, because I wanted to bring that up in a sense of like, so you invest the money, the time, the planning, you had the education, you went to go seek the education, you're thinking about this, and then boom, we do the podcast, boom, we learning as we go, but it's going well.
Yes.
We getting viewership.
More than well, phenomenal.
Yeah. Like
I was about
to say, y'all branded social phenomenon. Like, I've heard that many times. So then, boom, the success comes from it. Now we have the money talk, where it's like, what was the money talk? Because there had to be a money talk to bring the friction and the breakup. What was the money talk?
So out of respect for you guys, I'll tell a little bit of the story because I've said it already.
Yeah.
But basically we all sat down at the beginning and I presented two options. Like, I was like, yo, the first season it was everybody, I just had a vision like, yo, I'm gonna sell the show, right? That's how I stepped to everybody. I said, I'm gonna sell the show. And nobody got paid. And it was like the camaraderie was amazing. That's what was so good, because we were in the middle of the pandemic. And we was getting dressed, fly, drinking, eating good. And just, it was like a getaway.
Yeah.
Right? So we all had a great time with the thought in mind that at the end of it, there could be a check. Like I was coming back like every 2-3 weeks, like, yo, I just had a meeting with Showtime. They said X. I had a meeting with Raw Report. They said this. I walked away from that. We get to the end of the show, and I never sold a show, never ran a production company or anything. I'm going off of energy. I'm going off of, you know, being an innovator, visionary. And so I'm just boom, boom, boom. Get to the end of it, and I'm like, yo, we didn't sell the show. We had options, I had opportunities like to do stuff, but it didn't make sense for me. Like there was one situation where like Showtime, Steven Espinoza, he'll tell you this. It's like, Brandon, we love you. I was already in a family. And it was like, but why don't we just like replace like Fred with like Reggie Wayne? And I was like, hell no. Like this dude then showed up every day.
Yeah.
You know, through the pandemic.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not every day. It was twice a month we were shooting.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, there's no way. Even if it made sense, I couldn't put my name on that. Like I couldn't even look at myself. So we get to the end of it, nothing happens. And so I was like, look, yo, I love it. I'm gonna keep going, but I understand if y'all don't, you know, but out of respect for y'all, I can't ask y'all to come back for season 2 for free. So I can do a per episode fee or we can rev share. And I think that's where it got out of whack. And so we started without a plan. Right? Because like at the end of the day, you know, like there is things that all of us can, you know, did wrong or contribute, meaning from a business standpoint.
Right.
I don't think there was no ill will. There was certain things that happened. But what I would say after going through like the wilderness over the last 1.5, 2 years, is like I absolutely needed that. Like, cause now I'm like a master. I consider myself a master in this podcast space, a thought leader. You know what I'm saying?
And the only reason I asked, like you said before, like this is not the gossip podcast. This is you come here and you learn and you get real knowledge. So, like for guys that are getting into it, getting in a podcast space, they want to get in media, but you know, then they want to do it with their boys, but they don't want to get in a situation where it gets tricky.
Yeah.
What's the advice on that?
That's really simple. So you guys got to look at it, right? And it's negotiate. What you negotiate is what you get, right? And so you sit down first. Well, the first thing I would do is put together a strategic alignment plan. You have to do a business plan, do a strategic alignment plan so you guys understand where you're at today and where you're going. Yeah. Once you do that, then also negotiate, right? You know, there's also obviously a financial investment that needs to occur. And then you guys decide, you know, what that looks like. Some people have more money than others. Some people may have sweat. Some people, you know, may just have all the cash. So you negotiate that. But if you're running together, you know, make it as fair as possible. I would say, like, let's say Gilly and Wallow, perfect example. Let's say Gilly had all the money, Wallow, he came with the sweat, came with the energy, right? But I don't know their situation,
right,
of course. But let's just use them because there's two.
Yeah, hypothetical.
To me, the perfect partnership there, and you know, I'm saying this not knowing, but the perfect partnership is 50-50, right? Let's build this together because it incentivizes, you know, everyone to like really lean in. You know, it's needed, right? So, and it's the same thing with Nori and, you know, on Drink Champs. So anyways, is that you have to agree to that. And then once you do that, the way you look at deals, this is more game. Let's say SiriusXM, iHeart, Spotify, you know, anyone come in, own your IP, and then you rev share. So what you want is, let's say, you want House of Athlete, whatever, to come in and say, we're going to give you $3 million up front, right? We're going to go out and help produce it. We're going to go out and sell it. And then when we sell it, we recoup first, and then we rev share on the back end. Now, what I think is a great rev share, if it's a really good partner, a really, really good partner, 50-50 is okay. But I think it should be 60 creator, 60 athlete, 40 platform. And if you're a really good creator and a really good athlete, then it could be 70-30. But 30 going to, but they have to recoup first. That is the best deal out there. Okay. Anything else people are throwing at you is all trash, and they'll try. Like, I've never said this before, but I had a really interesting deal on the table from Amazon, and I was going to move to LA. They were building out I Am Athlete Studios on site, and the language was off. Okay, and I was fighting and standing up for that, like owning IP, how it's supposed to work. They were gonna put their whole engine behind it, bro.
Yeah. So in IP, you have to give your IP away. You have the IP when you start. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what do you do if you're a creator, you're an athlete, and getting into this space, and an Amazon come to you, and they're like, "Yo, we're going to give you X amount, then we're going to produce it, we're going to sell it, we're going to do all of this stuff, but we own it."
Yeah, that's so tough. Like, but that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying when you say, "Yo, keep your IP," I'm just saying for people who don't know, you have your IP.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
you have to give it to. You have to agree to give it to whoever is trying to
read the language.
Yeah, you have to agree to that. But I'm just saying for people who are like entering into space and they like, good. What do you mean? What do you mean? Like,
IP. What's IP? What's IP?
That's right.
What is I explain?
It's intellectual property.
Okay, all right.
So intellectual property, like this right now, like. You guys, they own this audio, this video, this name, right? So obviously you need the trademark. You need to make sure you have the infrastructure and all this stuff set up.
Because what happens is like there's so many ways to make money in just doing a pod. You know what I mean? You got your TikTok. You make money off the views. Then you make money off the ads on YouTube. But then people may want to put their
endorse.
They might want to endorse.
So here it is right here. Here it is right here. I love this. So this is think of podcasting like the music business.
Yeah.
Right. You take this one sound, this one thing, and you monetize it in so many different ways. So as creators, is how we should be thinking about it. There's an audio deal. You can do a 2-year, $10 million deal with iHeartMedia, right? And then go license the video to, let's say, TNT for another 2-year, $10 million deal. Then you can also negotiate that your stuff still lives on your YouTube channel where Google Ads live.
Yes.
So now you are monetizing your video from a linear standpoint, from a YouTube standpoint. Also, there's TikTok, right? And then what you're getting at integrated marketing, right? So right now, right, like this should be a PepsiCo product right here. They should be integrated into the platform. And then you have ads. So there's so many ways to do that. Then you go on tour. And then what we also need to be thinking about is merchandise. When you build out a community, right? You give your community an opportunity. Like you're going to see it, bro. Like y'all going to do a drop, next year, and it's going to sell out in 24 hours because people rock with you. Like that soundbite right there, like that soundbite, somebody, what bro say? Like whatever you said, but if you put that on a T-shirt and someone that really felt that, then that drop. And then I'm talking like this, and it's not always accepted in these spaces, but the reason why I'm doing that because we still have to educate the creator and the audience. And the reason why we got to educate the audience is because, like, sometimes audience don't know that we're not ESPN. Yeah. So their support matters. The subscription, forget $1, just subscribing to just the platform.
Get the notification.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Also, like, the reason why I wanted to bring it up, it also is because, so, like, I mean, just as a people, we haven't, like, really caught up to, like, starting businesses and what you do with business. Because, like, the way I was taught was, like, start a business to sell it. This is what it is. You never really started to, like, just hold on to it. So in selling it, the reason why you want to own the master or the IP is because that is
your value.
That is your value. So if you give the IP away, now you have nothing to sell. So now you building a company.
That's right.
With no exit strategy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so what happens is, you know, like in business, like whether it's music business, potting, whether you have a product, the main goal majority of the time is to have a monthly income that is substantial enough to times it by a certain number. So if you're making $100,000 a month, whatever that multiplier is in that business, like if it's alcohol, it may be like times 20. If it's music, it may be like times 12. So what I mean is like, if you making $100,000 a year, they times it by 12. That's what your evaluation. When you hear
That's
that,
good. You breaking it down.
yeah, because
facts.
they don't never really get broken
they don't
down.
talk
People
about
know the wording, but they don't know how you
What
get
it means,
there. You know
what
what I'm
it
saying?
So it's like, all right, like basically what you say, that's really good. You hitting it. It's like, all right, I wanna exit I Am Athlete at $1 billion.
There you-
Then that means I have to hit 100 million in revenue. And you negotiate this too, because nowadays, because of the economy, things have changed. You know, a lot of you know, the money world, they're looking at healthy EBITDA earnings before, right? So, you know, EBITDA is a thing, but for me, what I'm looking at, I'm gonna create such a dope brand that I'm going off of my revenue. Okay, so 100 million in revenue, and then now, if it's just brand deals that's volatile, now it's a 2x. So that's what you were saying.
That's where
like,
you get the multiplier.
multiples.
Yes.
Right. So if you hit 100 million, and I don't own my IP, and it's just brand deals, and this how much money we're making just in people just putting their stuff on our platform, then I can sell it for 1x, 2x. But now if you have you know, tech involved, you got data involved, you got other things that you pull from, then that's where you can get to 10, 15, 20. Right. And the tech component is where the multiples get crazy, where it's like 25x, even 30x.
Yeah, but I just,
From
you know,
tech,
I
yeah.
mean, I just wanted to say
that's
that
good.
because
No,
it's
that's
not,
important, Nate.
No, that's good. I think that's my job
important.
now. That's my responsibility now, is to educate. So a lot of things that you'll hear from me, you know, in this phase of life, like if you caught me a year ago, it would have came off different, or a year and a half ago, it came off different. You know, now it's about educating, and that's why I said that. Like, I needed that.
What got you here? Because like somebody that's on the business side of things, the majority of the time, it's hard to explain to like the athlete or the artist what like my job is as far as on the business side. You know, we want our athletes and our artists to be involved and understand, because you gotta speak a certain language.
Yeah.
You gotta speak the language. And I know for a fact, like without even being with you took some time to understand the language.
Yeah.
But how did you get to that where it was like, all right, I'm in it, I'm gonna learn it. I could tell just right off the bat, like, you know every bill, you know your overhead, you know what you paying, you know what you need to cut, what's like you understand efficiency. Like, how do you get there?
Yeah, I think that goes back to that case study, and that's when I started reading a lot, and I started learning. Now, when it comes to the creator economy, media, and podcasting, over the last couple of years, that's why I kept saying, like, you know, I needed to go through the struggle, because it forced me to learn the business, meaning this industry.
Yes.
But as far as like a business standpoint, I was already learning, like, in real time. I got my MBA through, you know, opening up a facility, and running my own office, etc. So I learned that in real time, and I'm obsessed. You know, same way in ball. Like, I'm talking to this cat. I'm like, yo, bro, come over to I Am Athlete. Want to do a pod with you? He's like, gotta be 6 p.m. because I got that. You know what I'm saying? But that's like the function of an athlete is like that. Like, you're obsessed with it. That's why you become great. That's why you're successful. I took that into business.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm on YouTube University, Google. Now you got Chat GPT, you know, and AI. I stay in meetings. You know, I'm always learning. And I also have a skill where, you know, I can come in, see something, feel something, and kind of like, you know, well, I would say this. I know what I don't know. And I think that's one of
That's
my
a skill.
greatest,
That's a
like,
gift.
oh my goodness,
That's
because
what I wrote
now
down yesterday.
I know how to go find an
yesterday.
answer. It's
Yeah.
easy.
That's
Like,
what I
yo, I
put on the
don't, how
post
did you
yesterday.
do that? Like, I don't. So
No, it's okay
Yeah, it's
to
okay
not
not to-
know
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
You know, and it's a gift even and when you get higher up, it's a gift to even be able to, you know, distribute tasks and understand how to like, you know, delegate. That
well,
is
see,
like
that's, you know, you talked about, you know, the financial side, and that's where I'm weak in business.
what?
Like, I know everything. I look at my books, whatever, but like the day to day, like for me to get from, you know, we went from 400,000, year one lost 400,000 to 4 million to 10 million, then down to, you know, damn near $3 million loss, back up, probably hit like, let's say 10 to 12 over the next 12 to 18 months. Next year, do 30 million. Then after that, then I'm gonna do 100 million. To get there, to get the company to where I'm talking about 30 to 100, like I need a financial controller. I need a CFO.
Yeah.
That's where I'm weak because I'm a visionary. I'm going.
Yeah.
You know, I wanna.
Yeah.
And so
Hey,
that it
listen.
goes to your.
But to get there, you need to identify,
what
okay,
you need.
this is what I need. And
That's
then
right.
be able to go find
Which is a big part because a lot of us, we know we have product. You know, we are like our culture. Like, man,
So speaking of our culture, I had a question for both of y'all. Like, just sitting here and listening and learning, it seems like within our culture there is a clash versus collab. Like we very seldom are trying to collab, but we really know how to clash very well and compete with one another. What do you guys think is the key to us collabing better, and why we should collab better? Why is it better than keeping things from one another? Why is it better than holding things back? And how can we grow as a culture in collabing? And why do you think it's better versus clashing?
I mean, man.
that's so good.
I mean,
this boy got bars.
yeah. Hey, VO got, I mean, if y'all want me to go first,
go ahead.
I think that just athletes, just as a culture, we don't talk enough to, and I mean, but like specific, like, hey, how are you eating? How are you raising your kids? What school are you going? Why are you going to school? Like, who you banking with? Like, hey, you know, Brandon need a CFO. Like, hey, who the good CFO candidates? Where do I find that? Like, I feel like that's just the key to life in general. You know what I mean? It's like collaborating, but I don't know where the competition comes from. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know. I just don't.
What is it rooted in, Brandon? What is that rooted in? Where does that clash come from?
Damn, I gotta be real.
Be as real as possible.
Man, I would hope you would.
We're first generation, so listen. We've come a long way. We're doing some amazing things. It's happening on a micro from a micro standpoint, not a macro standpoint, and that's the conversation. How do we get it to a macro conversation? The micro to me is elitism, right? And so some of it is like these little groups that have the information, right? There's some that's like, no, why? Like, come on, why? I don't have time, right? So like for me, if I'm reaching out to you to get on my podcast, right, and you blessed me to come on my podcast, if a young pup asked me to come on their podcast, I'd be intentional in saying yes a couple times a year, because how can it be one way?
Yeah.
Right? So you have elitism there. And then there's also what I've learned, like there's a gentleman very powerful in our culture, in our community, doing what I'm doing. And I asked him to mentor me, and he said yes, but it's been 3 or 4 years.
You never heard from him.
Never heard from him. But what I realized is this. He's trying to become the first at what he's doing. So but I get it, because it's like you got to think about running a company and the stress and how do I. So like there's some people like that where I'm like, you know what I'm saying? So
But what I would say to that though, right, is like someone who's going to do it anyway, they just need a little help.
Yeah, yeah.
And to me, I don't know who the guy is, but I'm not really asking you to hold my hand and walk me to it.
Yeah.
I just need like, in some of our case, I just need the number.
Yeah.
I'll make the calls. Yeah, I just need, hey, nah, don't go over there. Go over there. That's all I need. And it's like,
That's right.
why don't we? What is going on? Like, I just need to, like, you giving me your lawyer. It's not hurting you.
And that's part of the process of us breaking through too, is like, you know, you gotta push through all of that, and you gotta, you know, go to the next, get up. But, you know, I'm over collaboration right now. You know, I think that the answer is the next generation, our children, or maybe not our children, but
Them being able to do it.
the next generation, right? Like I'm talking about the kids that are in high school right now, maybe not college, but the ones that are in high school right now, they're listening to these conversations and they are collaborating.
Yes, they are.
And they're gonna be the ones that get it at that level.
Okay.
So for me, what I've done, because I've wasted, bro, and it wasn't waste because I learned, and it really matured me and stretched me. But I talked to like almost everybody in the industry about collaboration, right? And it just didn't come together. And maybe it was because it's coming from me. I'm not sure. But now what I'm on is I'll go make the money and I'll continue to educate, and then I'm gonna come with a check.
Yeah.
It's easier for me to come in here
with
now
this.
in the room and it's like, yo, instead of saying let's collaborate, let's do this together, like it's harder, right? What my vision now is, all right, boom, I got this NFL YouTube deal. I got Revolt deal. I got Vivid Seats deal. Okay, because that's what I'm talking about. When I mastered it, oh man, like there's no doubt in my mind that we're not going to hit 30 million in 26. There's no doubt in my mind that we're not going to do 100 million in 27 because I've mastered monetization. I understand production. I understand what I don't know. And the conversation is different when you come in as a boss. And that language is different. It's like, yo, I got 300,000 to do boom, boom, boom. I got $1 million to do boom, boom, boom. And then there's going to be 5 or 6 of this generation that runs together that built the next great company and breakthrough.
I'm gonna be real. It bothers me. It bothers me that someone like you, who's done so well in this space and in his career, is at a point where he's tried to almost give himself so many times to where it hasn't worked in his favor, that he's given up on collabing. And a lot of that, I think people should take that more personally, because it's a victim mentality. Like, somebody don't want the short end of the stick. Somebody don't want to be taken advantage of, and you don't want to, but there's enough to go around. Like, it's more than enough. And until we come together, we'll never be why do we have to wait for the high school kids? Why do we have to wait for the elementary school kids? We got to start them roots. We got to start building that right now. And I think that if people just learn how to put their egos to the side and realize, like Neem said, we're not trying to take from you. We trying to expand with you. You know what I'm saying? I think that's really, really important in helping. If you really care about the culture, if you really care, because you strutting and stunting like you care. I'm just being
Really though, because it's like what you said. Like, it's like the little guy, or you know, the little they on their way up podcast. You still gonna do a couple of those because it's like, man, like, you know, it's like in music. If I don't do no features, like, look at Drake, you know, like how many artists he put on for that one feature he did that probably took him 2 hours, 3 hours. He changed them people's lives. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not, it's been many.
And when I say collab, when I think about collab, because I agree with you, like that's cool. I'm talking about like how we built the next generation ESPN.
Yeah.
How are we, what Netflix was the blockbuster, how we do that.
Yeah.
You know, so when you think about the reach that the athletes have in this space, what if we came together? Like, we're talking about, like, think about it. Like, this is why I always think this
crazy.
big. I made over $100 million in my first career in football. You know what I'm saying? So, like, getting a couple $1 million here, that's not going to move me. And I say it respectfully, and I'm so thankful to God for blessing me with this ability and the gifts in that career. But like if someone comes like, here go $1 million, here go $2 million. No. I want to see that $50 million check. Like let me hold. I don't know if y'all basketball numbers is crazy.
A little.
You turned down some crazy deals.
Nah, that was a lie, man. they be lying like they weren't in the room. But you know.
No, I get what you mean though. You know what I mean? Like certain numbers is not gonna move you. It's just your reality.
But the reason why I say that is because that's the opportunity that exists. You know, a couple athletes coming together. Like I think Steph, LeBron, Colin Kaepernick, and there's so many other athletes, and there's different macro to micro production companies, different reach, right? Have different production companies. What if they were all together?
Right.
And it's the same conversation that's in music as well.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Or what does that look like? And it's a tough conversation. Jay-Z tried to do it with Tidal. And that was a fail. They sold. Some people say, "Oh, you got to an exit," but that wasn't a win.
Right,
Jay-Z
right.
was trying to disrupt the whole space, and he still is with the deal they just did.
Yeah.
But look at Spotify, Apple. Man, you talk about hip hop, the #1 genre in the world.
Yeah.
What if all of them? Some of them came together, but it just didn't.
Yeah. No, I get
down.
your. It's like a plight, you know, in the sense of like, man, it's when you think about it in that way, it's tough to get everybody to be on that same page. Was interesting about what you said is the money. I'm gonna go get the money and then I'm gonna just do it because, you know, what comes to mind is, you know, like us starting the NBA, us starting the NFL, because it's like it's us
80%.
that are, you know what I mean? It's 80% of it. So like, what if we just say, you know what? Like, let's let the contracts expire and then we're gonna do our own thing. And what comes to mind,
do it in a gym. You can do it in high school gyms, and
they'll
do $1 billion.
Yeah, but what comes to mind when you say that, like, all right, well, I'm gonna go get the check and I'm gonna do it. It is like when in golf, when Liv, when they came and disrupted the PGA. Are you familiar with that?
100%.
Like they basically bought it. You know, they basically, and it was like they got strategic players. They offered them 100 million, 150 million, and it disrupted. And it's like, it's kind of like the motto that you're saying, where it's like, look, I just got to go get the money.
Well, because I always thought it'd be uncomfortable, you know, when like my vision is to be in south of France, celebrating the exit. And when you think about the people that all put their hand into building something, and be uncomfortable when you're on this amazing yacht. We're talking about a yacht that may be $1 million a week, and you know, you're the one that got all the money. That's uncomfortable, you know? So what happens is you got to get comfortable being the one, you know, and that's like survival's remorse.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that's a whole nother conversation. But our culture has never seen as many millionaires and even a few billionaires. We've never seen this before. So we are doing some amazing things. And even this conversation is great because it actually brings us closer together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to listen to it. We're going to continue to do it. And it's happening. It is happening in micro groups.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, how do you how you bring 50 together and say, all right. And it could be something as simple as like me sharing like, yo, this is how I structured my Series XM deal. Why? So now when you go in there, you understand where I'm at, right? Like, there's no different when I was leaving FS1 and I know that spot was open. There was a couple athletes in positions like, yo, this is what they offered me, just so you know.
Right.
Boom, man. And then also I'm giving you a heads up. I'm actually going to leave in a couple months, so make sure your agent go call. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We have to know this stuff like FanDuel, DraftKings, you know, BetMGM, WinBet. All of them are spending crazy money in the space, but do we even know how each other is structuring these deals?
Right. And that's
because it helps at the table.
Yeah.
That's what I mean when I'm talking collab, is like, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we can know what to say when we go in there. Because, you know, I mean, you mess the market up when, when one of the guys go in there and take less than what we taking. Yeah. It's like, man, why you do that? Now they going to think we are going to do that. That's right. So we got to talk. You know what I mean? When it comes to most everything. Like,
It's important.
But yeah, man, I mean, I'm like torn as if we should continue or if we should. We
going and going.
We gotta. Nah, we gotta. He gotta go to a game. But
Let me
just text them
wrapping
and
up.
tell them real quick.
No,
I was about to
we
wrap
gonna-
up anyway.
getting
I was
to
wrapping up anyway.
no, we'll wrap up and then we just gonna come.
Hey, can you meet me at the field? Tell the kids I'll meet y'all at the field. I have his baseball bat and his helmet, so I'll meet you guys there.
Yeah, I think.
No, we just gonna continue it. You know what I mean? On another, like we gonna go to B Marsh joint.
Yeah,
you
we
know
gonna
what I
keep
mean?
talking. The
Yeah, I
same.
told y'all what I want to do.
Yeah.
Son, tell Neemal to take Zoe and take y'all to the baseball field. I'll meet y'all there, and I'll have his stuff. No, this is good, bro. This is what it is. I know I'll let you transition back in, but
Of
like,
course.
yeah, you just gotta educate, and that's part of. Hopefully, we don't put this part out, but like, that's my thing. Like, it's just like being bold. I was uncomfortable being a boss. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was what I realized where I was going wrong is because I like want harmony and peace, and I was showing up like a sheep when I'm really a lion.
That
You know,
sounds
like-
familiar.
You know what I'm saying? Like it like for you to walk in and you with your brothers, dudes you strapped up with, and you got to say, no, this is how we doing. That's a different energy, and that not everybody can get into that energy or even receive that energy. So it's like, oh, it's okay. No, like we said, you know, that's why I'm like, damn, I'm sorry, I'm 15 minutes late, but no, we said we shooting at 12, be here at 12. Like,
Right.
Actually, be here at 11:45.
Right.
You know,
right.
so that's where I'm at now, is just like just owning that and being confident and comfortable in who I am. And that's the work that I had to do over the last year and a half. It's like, yo, being in the wilderness and sitting there quiet, shutting down everything, and just like, all right, who am I? What type of man am I going to be? How do I want to show up in the world? How am I going to lead? So, been beautiful, man.
Yeah, I think this has been a beautiful conversation. You know, even sitting here learning for myself, just because I feel like a lot of athletes and a lot of maybe even people in general, they'll enter into space and they'll be intimidated by the verbiage and the language, and they'll be afraid to ask questions because they don't want to be seen as someone who doesn't know. That's right. And I feel like, you know, sitting here with you, sitting here with Neem, obviously 2 different backgrounds, myself, football, basketball, managing, but you can feel the more than that. You didn't let just one avenue define who you are. That, like you said, your purpose sometimes is your platform to your purpose. And I think a lot of people need to understand that and hear that and really embrace that, because, you know, that there's more to you than you think if you really want there to be. The fact that you were able to accomplish and get to your goals in one avenue, in one aspect of your life, is probably just the root to everything else that you are able to accomplish. So here at the Inner Core, we understand that it's not on you, it's in you. And I appreciate both of you guys for reflecting that. So we have quick fire questions. I think we're just going to ask 1 or 2. So you you answer them in the best way you can.
Yep.
And we just going to keep it moving from there. So my first question is, if you could tell your younger self one piece of advice, whether it be for football, business, or life in general, what would it be?
Man, good question. What I would tell my younger self, I would say,
Dang.
what I would tell my younger self is, don't be so emotional. Like, be very strategic. See the bigger picture. Understand that it's bigger than you. You know, and what you do today is going to affect your tomorrow. That's what I would tell my younger self.
That's so powerful. I use the term, you got to care a little less. Because, you know, some people say you're careless, but if you care less, sometimes that's beneficial for you.
We got
Go ahead, D. Go ahead, D.
So in the new media space, who are some of the guys that you want to model I am athlete around or like look up to?
So who I pull, what they say, or they said, some artists steal, some artists, I forget what the term is. But I pull inspiration from everyone. Even like I am athlete, you know, like there was a lot of inspiration from the shop.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like I'm sitting back watching the shop and I'm like, that's dope. And I think we all love those conversations that he was having in the peak of it. And then I was like, damn, all right, well, what's our set? Theirs is the barbershop, and I get that. We all get that. And I was like, yo, let's go into a restaurant. Let's break bread, right? And so there's a lot of inspiration there. Not only there, and I've never hit their production. You know, their budget and with how they shoot and the partners is crazy. But like their angles from how they shoot, and you get the shoes and the B-roll and then the coloring from that post. A lot of inspiration from them. And then there's, you know, dudes in hip hop, Mason Cam, love that, what they're doing. Gillian Wallow, phenomenal. And then of course you got dogs out there, right? Like Club Shay Shay, show Shannon Sharp. You got The Pivot is doing a phenomenal job. Man, it's everybody. You pull from Gilbert Arenas.
Yeah, Gil.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, it's crazy. Gil, funny. Like from when we went to now.
Yeah, it's
like,
crazy.
And that's what I mean by like
it's
you
so
can
different.
just improve every day. Because like,
we did
bro, when we went,
it
was like a basement. He had like a couch, but now it's like
a whole production.
It's a whole production arena.
Right. And the way he did that deal, I ain't gonna say it, was crazy. Like how he built that out and the reasoning behind that. Next time y'all offline with him, ask him like, yo, how'd you build this out like that? And why did you do?
Let me tell you about Gil.
I'm sure it's tough.
I think Gil is a real genius.
Yeah.
Like minus all the bullshit out and like what you may think when you see the surface.
Oh yeah.
Like in here, I think there's real genius. There's real genius in there.
Yeah, 100%. I love Gil. He's one of my favorite, for sure. Love him.
Yeah, well.
But yeah, bro, we appreciate you coming on here, man. You know,
love, bro.
We appreciate you taking the time. And world, you know it's love. Go ahead.
You coming back?
For sure.
What's your ideal situation?
I just want to be where I'm loved and cared about, and looked at as an asset, not as a tool, somewhere where I can go and be myself and people find value in that. So I know what I'm gonna do in a rectangle. That don't got nothing to do with anything outside of it. As you said, once you enter in that joint, I'm a whole different person than I am here. So I just need an opportunity, but the right opportunity, and I need it to be done, you know, the right way and equal opportunity. I know that might not sound normal because we're in a sport where, you know, there's levels to it, but there ain't levels to games though. My game is different than anyone else's.
Yeah. Can't wait to see you back out there.
Yeah, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. But we appreciate you coming out here in the world. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Inner Core. We are here with my co-host, Nieman Johnson, and our beautiful ghost. Lord, let's run it back. World, thank you for tuning in to The Inner Core here with my man, my co-host, Nieman Johnson, and our big-time guest, Brandon Marshall, where we know for a fact here, it ain't what's on you, it's what's in you. Peace and love.